All right, so here we go. This is what I want to do today. I think one, like introduce ourselves. We got some folks from the Genesis side, some folks from the Realm side, and the cool part too is I think that we've crossed the bridge now. In that, at least on the Genesis side, I'm saying quote side here. I think everybody from Genesis who's active is a Realms holder and a Realms maybe not active community member, but new community member as well, which really was our goal here. So both introduce ourselves. We could even go. I mean, there's 20 of us. We could do a quick hello if we wanted to. Want to talk the ATIME roadmap and just talk through the Realms Genesis sort of crossover first bridge season 1 experiment that we launched. If there's any questions about it, open them up and just talk through like what is ATIME and what are we trying to do with it. We're going to introduce the Lost Mana challenge. So actually, that's the small piece of alpha that we're going to launch in this call today, I guess, Lord. Though we're not going to truly launch it, but we'll at least tease it.
Yeah.
Open general questions, and then we're really excited to share something that Lord and I have been secretly working on for the past 2 weeks or something. That is probably 48 hours from launching. Bigger and larger and wider than either of our projects. But let's start on ATIME. Let me share a screen here. Even I get lost in my Notion board here. Here we go. Open. Share. Nice. There we go. First off, I just want to say I love the open communication we've had. We've even had some like back and forth, funny little figuring it out. Figuring out each other's vibes. Like Grug, you and me have had some good backs and forth in our channel. And I just have to say, like for strangers over the internet playing a silly game, this is pretty amazing that we're all just figuring each other out and working together towards hopefully what looks like a common goal. I don't know, if Lord of a few, if you want to chime in on that, but I'm definitely feeling the vibe.
Yeah. It's been. I don't know where these last 6 weeks went, but they've been a lot of fun, and we've all made a lot of anon friends, and everything's coming together. And yeah, we do have this shared common goal, which is to grow the whole ecosystem and open it to the wider normie groups.
And maybe no norms either. Maybe we'll get to the norms later, but we're the internet norms or the Web3 norms these days.
Yes.
And yeah, I think we got a pretty good global community here too. I'm California. You guys are 5 hours different from me. I think there's other folks who are in South Korea. There's some folks in China, and so I think we have like 24/7 coverage these days.
Yeah, it's mental. Wake up in the morning and there's Discord's mental. Discord's crazy.
Well, you can see my Discord over here. My Discord is totally crazy.
I still don't think you sleep.
Well, what you haven't found out yet is I'm actually 3 different people. Everyone shares my password. No, not really. That would be nice though. But no, I'm just fired up. I think we're onto something. I think there's a really profound moment happening in the sort of the microcosm of what we're working on between Realms, Genesis, and this little loot moment. I think there's a pretty macro thing happening in terms of loot's role in the larger Web3 space, and I think there's a meta thing happening around just the changing of the guard of the internet, and in some ways like the changing of the guard of the flow of society. And so I don't think we're going to get too deep in that today. I think we're going to go straight micro into tokenomics of ATIME and roadmaps and more. But if anyone ever wants to jam with me about macro and meta, I love to think and speak at that level too. But so yeah, let's talk today. I think this is a perfect moment here to pause. So we've got a crew. It looks like there's maybe 25 or 20 people on here or something. I want to talk about this today. So first off, just the goal of this whole initiative that Lord and I came up with and ran with. And then go through the ATIME roadmap, because I think that's the hot topic of the moment. Introduce the Lost Mana challenge. Any general questions, comments, plus ones, minus ones, etc. And I guess I feel silly saying alpha, so I'm just going to call this one more thing that we're really excited to show you guys. Does that sound fair, Lord?
Yep, that's great. Let's do
it. Okay. So first off, I just wanted to share kind of the context about how we even arrived at a season 1 of ATIME, where the Realms community got the first claim on this whole new sort of trading token called ATIME. And just to walk it back, I think most people here know what Genesis is, and I'm not going to re-explain it. But we're really excited about this concept that there can be a gold currency token, but then an ATIME trading token, and a trading token that lets you trade time, essentially. The future vision, the future roadmap, the future direction for ATIME is that within the context of the Genesis project, you can manipulate time, reach through time, and trade for this lost mana, plus also manifest other things that require the ability to manipulate time. So for today, the real only like active utility of ATIME is to trade sort of current day mana with historical ancient lost mana, which in the context of the Genesis game is actually really powerful because it allows you to move faster towards resurrecting these perfect, or collecting these perfect sets and then resurrecting these Genesis adventures. But that obviously presupposes that you're playing the game. So if you're not playing the game in the mix with Genesis, I think there's not an exact utility for ATIME today, but there definitely will be in the future. In the Genesis project, the other vision we have for like what ATIME will be used for in our side of the world is things like upgrading a Genesis adventure, putting the names on the blockchain who actually resurrected it, adding some ability scores, discovering the origin story of the items, and really like the big vision for where I want to arrive to, and then allow and encourage this community to completely decentralize, is I want to get to a place where using ATIME and using Genesis adventures, we can go all the way back to discover not just the people who were the Genesis adventurers of the space, but their stories. We're calling it Genesis Scrolls, and to us, it's like the 4th chapter of the Genesis project. And the idea here is that using ATIME and using a Genesis adventure as your champion, you can go to, we're calling it the Forge, but maybe that storyline will change. But imagine you go to the Forge, and with your GA and with some ATIME, you get a scrap of paper, an NFT, that tells the origin story of the Order. Where did the Order of Titans come from? Where did the Order of Brilliance come from? Why are they here? And I think if this project succeeds collectively, and I think if this project, by project I mean like the collective loot project succeeds, and that we can play a role inside of it, I think we'll have the resources and the draw and the gravity well to hire some amazing writers to write these stories. I mean, could you imagine if Brandon Sanderson, N.K. Jemisin, Neil Stevenson, freaking George R.R. Martin could take an Order and then write the story of Brilliance, or write the story of Titans, or write the story of the Giants or the Fox, and then cut it all up, put it into 160 scrolls per Order, and then use ATIME plus a Genesis adventure to actually uncover them. So I know I'm really fired up about that. That's one pretty specific use case, I guess, for ATIME, but one that I think is really powerful, and I know I'm excited for. Maybe I'll pause for a second. I'm going to talk about ATIME in the context of the wider ecosystem in a second, but any questions about ATIME in the context of just Genesis project itself? No. Okay. Well, I'm gonna come to something else that probably will trigger some other questions.
You can drop any questions in the. I was going to say you can drop any questions in the roundtable questions channel.
Oh, good idea. Yep. Sweet. The ideas for the future outside of Genesis project are pretty broad. Things like using ATIME to reach through time and manifest lost items back to the present day, transport your adventure at loot speed to another realm, another place, another time, maybe accelerate time, maybe slow down time in a battle. I mean, Lauren, you're designing the exact mechanics of the realms game and the settling game and the pillaging game. I could totally imagine ATIME being something that you do to like slow down the clock or accelerate the clock or go back in time and change something or leap into the future and learn something. Hey, we leapt into the future using ATIME and we learned something about our realm. Underneath the diamonds are dragons. I don't know. Like we learned something, and then with that knowledge, we can do something different in the present day. Idea here is anything that people can dream up. This token is a utility token. It's not a currency. It's more of a gaming token. There probably will be some sort of like Uniswap style pool, but I don't intend to create it, and I don't think it's wise for anyone to create that until we've really figured out the utility of this thing. But I'm really excited for it because I think it'll unlock a bridge across projects. And that's really the whole spirit of this project, the whole spirit of this collaboration, to pull it all the way back to the top. Like, why did we do this collaboration between Genesis and Realms? This is the first collaboration between two tier 1 loot projects, maybe the first collaboration between any loot projects. And I just know, for me at least, like, to be able to say we were the first bridge built, the first offering given to Genesis adventurers, and vice versa, the first sort of proof of collaboration between two projects. To me, that's really powerful. That goes down in history as like, we were the first to build a bridge. I don't know who threw the rope. I think I probably threw the rope, Lord, but I swung a little rope around my head and threw it across the canyon to the realms, and Lord of a Few caught it. And Lord of a Few said, "I got you, Tim Shell." Tied it to a tree, started to string a rope bridge across these two things. He and I, for the past 3 weeks, have just been in lockstep with each other, building both this project, but also the other cool thing we're going to show you. But this whole thing we just did is really a hypothesis or an experiment. And the hypothesis of this experiment is, can we strengthen both communities? Can we re-engage the OG loot holders back into the community? Can we create a new precedent for the lootverse that projects work together instead of competing with each other? And can we just prove it's possible to build healthy bridges between projects? And so we're a week into it so far. I'd say so far so good. And I think we had a couple like rocky moments of trying to figure each other out, or figure out the utility of ATIME and figure out the details. And I'm sure some people were like, dude, there's so much freaking stuff in these documents. How am I supposed to parse through all of this? And I will say, like, the answers are in the docs, but I obviously understand that there's tons of information here, and everybody's got plenty of IRL stuff to do beyond just reading words that I wrote inside of a Notion document. But that is our goal with this. The hypothesis with this, again, is proving it's possible to build healthy long-term bridges. So I think I'll pause there for a second. I think I'll talk a little bit more about the mechanics. Actually, you know what? Let me actually say these mechanics, and then let's talk openly about this. The mechanics of how this project partnership or collaboration went down was threefold with a twist. Maybe actually fourfold with a twist. One, here's my twist. Sorry that this is in the wrong order. One, Realm sent 68 realms as offerings to GAs. That to me was incredible. That was the first offering ever made to Genesis adventurers. Hey, you are a Genesis adventurer who just came here from 20,000 years ago. We pulled you through time back into the present day. Welcome back. Here's an offering. Here is your realm. Here's a realm for you to settle. I think that was an incredible show of a peace offering, incredible thing. Like that, I think that really is probably the first time this has happened. An airdrop between two loot projects, treat it as an offering to these GAs. So I guess first off, thank you to the Realms crew for doing that. I think it cracked open a precedent. I think it was also super appreciated by the crews. And then the second thing is that Genesis opened up the first tranche of ATIME for Realms. The original plan was to open up ATIME for Genesis adventurers, but it struck us we could sort of do two birds with one stone, maybe even three birds with one stone. One, because Realms was so generous as to do this offering, as a result of that, every GA held a realm. So when we then said, if we do season 1 of ATIME as a Realms claim, it actually means that all the Realms holders, everybody here, can claim a realm. Claim ATIME. But it also meant functionally every GA could start to claim ATIME and actually start to use ATIME to trade against the Lost Mana post. And then the third point of this whole thing, actually maybe I didn't say the third bird. The third bird with that stone was to establish a precedent of seasons. The idea that unlike A Gold, which is just like one claim for all OG loot and then you're done, the idea here was that there's some seasons, and that in the long run, ATIME will have many seasons. The seasons will probably look like a Realms claim, a GA claim period, maybe an OG loot claim period, probably back to a GA claim period. I think I have this written down, so maybe I'll pull this up as I talk about it. But so we have it here as like season 1 Realms, season 2 GAs, future seasons, OG loot, M loot, S loot even. Maybe the used mana ends up having a season, and we can always come back. And so I just want to say that as the other thing, like no promises here. We have to figure out the supply roadmap and figure out, the exact tokenomics of this over time. But the first season was an experiment. It's only 800,000 tokens of ATIME, whereas the Genesis Adventure season, if we have the 300 summoned, it'll be 6 million. If we have 900 summoned, it'll be 18 million. And if somehow magically we get to completion, and every single person who owns an OG loot bag distills their mana and then trades it for GAs, we'll end up having like 50 million tokens through the just the GA side. So just calling out that like 800,000 tokens is not a huge percentage in the long run, but it's 100% today. And over the course of the next few weeks, it'll become maybe 20%, 30%. Over the course of the next year, maybe it becomes down to like 5%. But also, if we build bridges between these communities, we can easily add, I'm going to add more stuff here, but like other derivatives. This can easily be treasure. This can be, realms round 2. This can be abstract art if they come back around. This could be, you fill in the blank. But it's kind of open up to the community. So that's the ATIME claim period. The third thing we did that I think was clear to anyone who dug into this post. So at the bottom of this post, the mirror post, we said, hey, adventurers, dive into the shared wallet from which we published this post, and you might find a hint about a 16-part puzzle to come with a prize for those who dare solve it. And if you then dive into this wallet here, you can see that what this wallet has inside of it. This wallet has 16 items of Genesis mana. It's got lost items of mana from every order, 1 per order. And maybe, Lord, I'll let you take it from here. But as the sort of reciprocal offering back from Genesis to the Realms community, we sent 16 items of lost mana and said, hey, let's do something fun with this. And so I guess that brings me to the Lost Mana Challenge. Let's do something fun with 16 pieces of lost mana tied to all the orders so that the Realms community can do something to actually claim them. Do you want to talk about that quickly?
Yeah. So that was that was incredible. That we've got those 16 lost mana now, and so the idea with this part of the bridge is that we're going to create 16 cryptexes that will be I'm sure everyone knows what a cryptex is. The thing from Da Vinci Code where you have to input a word, and so we haven't launched these yet, but we should in the next couple of weeks. And these will be they'll be contracts all on chain where you will enter in a word, and there'll be 16 different puzzles, and the answer to the puzzle is the key to the cryptex. And if you manage to enter in the correct word, it will automatically send you a lost mana. And so there'll be 16 puzzles, one for each order. Yet to be determined, that puzzle, obviously. But that's how the mechanic of that will work. And so we kind of want everyone to, hopefully the orders, the people owning the realms and their orders get together and try to solve this puzzle together, or you could try to solve it yourself. But it'd be quite cool if all the realms people holding the same orders could get together and try to solve these puzzles, because they're not going to be easy. We're not going to make them just like you can solve them in a couple of days. They're not going to be too hard, but they're going to take some thought. So yeah, that's
cool.
That's
I'm really excited about that. I think that's on your plate. I'm happy to help with that. And honestly, maybe even if the Realms community wants to dive in there, I'll tell everybody else. Lord is freaking busy these days with tons of things that he's juggling, including real life.
We've got it.
So if somebody wants to help him, I'll shout that out for you.
We're almost there. It's just just amongst other things. Yeah, it's getting stacked.
Cool. We have a big crew now here. Look at this. We got like 40 people on the phone. Sweet. I will send out this note. This is in Notion, in our crazy Notion, but this is in Notion, so I'll send out this note after the call as well in terms of some call notes. D-Ham says, is there any other way of getting ATIME? The cryptex sounds fun. Well, there's going to be 2 ways, D-Ham. One is buy a realm that hasn't had ATIME claimed, and I think there's actually still a pretty good bit of it Let's find, where's the contract URL up here? Man, even our mirror post got big. We've had 400,012, 348 holders, which is cool. So that means that about half of the realms have claimed their ATIME so far. Yeah, there you go. Grug says you can buy it for me. That's what Grug's been looking to do. There you go. Actually, maybe Lord, is there a really quick way to check if your realm has had its ATIME claimed?
I think Red. Where do we get to that? I think we're about to release that.
Okay.
You could probably just.
You can definitely read the contract, but that's a little harder.
You can go to Biblio actually. Go to Biblio.
Okay.
And go to claims and mints.
Yep.
And click ATIME claim.
Yep.
And go. If you click that, claim all ATIME, or you can open. Sorry, that won't work.
Okay, but that's close though. You know, if you want to edit this page, that might be helpful, because then you can make it so that the answer is not you don't own this realm, but you don't own this realm, and it still has a time to claim or not.
Yeah, I'll need to add another function for that. But yeah, we can probably
cool.
We'll get that done.
Dham, I know you're joking here. You might have jumped on after I said that, but Dham just said something like someone set up an LP on Sushi. I would really recommend probably not doing that, because I think everybody on this call now is hearing the roadmap, and I think everyone on the call is hearing the supply roadmap. And we're trying to be super clear and transparent about it. You know, we've written down like every number into here. Season 1, there will be 800,000 tokens. Season 2, though, it's going to open up 20,000 tokens of ATIME per GA. Every GA is a freaking miracle. You know, every GA is trading and distilling and teamwork and coordination. And so I think it is a good amount. We only have 250 GAs claimed so far, something like that. But even the minute we have 250 or 300 GAs who claim their ATIME, there will be another 6 million tokens of ATIME that pop on the market. Maybe you triple that. Now there's 18 million. I guess maybe I'm taking this too seriously, but I think what I would worry about a LP sort of Sushi or Uniswap pool is that if you get other apers from outside our world, they may not realize this reality of the supply roadmap. And I wouldn't want them to come back around being like, why did you add all this supply? It's like, well, that's our plan all along, is to add the supply. But I would personally advise holding off on that. Yep. No, Dham, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time, just using it as an opportunity for a jumping off point. Cool.
Say that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the thing with, I'm sure everyone's probably heard this talked about in the past 6 weeks, but the real innovation that Loot did was this kind of collective composability across projects, which is what we're trying to expand here. And so ATIME is just it's the Genesis token, but in the future, I see a future where ATIME gets consumed with the Lord's token gets consumed with potentially something else into this one contract, which some anon can write, which outputs something magical. It's all this type of composability across projects, because everything's on chain and everything's just within ETH. Then it does it.
You got someone, you got someone coming over your head, mate. You got someone. They get off the back. They've gone off the back. They're off the back.
So what was that, Secret?
I think somebody might be just talking to their kids or something.
All right.
Yeah. You got something coming out of the back of your head. He says that doesn't sound so good.
I was just saying, this type of composability across projects where these tokens and NFTs get consumed and create something else is where everything's heading, and so that's what we're really keeping in mind when we're designing any of these new mechanics.
Lord, let me put you on the spot for a second. You and me have jammed on this, personally, but I have a note here in this is the official ATIME doc, which is freaking too long. I understand that. But in this doc, we have ideas for future developers for developers of future quests, games, challenges, etc. As you're thinking about the Realms pillaging game or like this Realms settling game, any ideas of how ATIME might be used in the context of like pillaging or settling a realm?
I can't make anything concrete because we're still designing this system, but potentially some things could be, just some little early alpha leak that everyone here can listen to. But basically, the way the realms settling game is going to work is it's going to be done in ages. So an age lasts a week, and the age, so obviously in a year there'll be 52, and this will all be recorded on chain. And so obviously it'll start with the Genesis age, which will be a special age, and will give everyone ample time to get into it. The ages will also determine the distribution of the lords, and so the older the age gets, the less the lords gets distributed in the previous age, or that age. But one thing with the ages is that we an ATIME, and we're building a war mechanic into the pillaging game. So you won't be able to attack your own order, but we're going to make it so you'll be able to have a war with another order. So you'll be able to sign something that says, I'm Order of Reflection, I'm going to attack. I'm going to start a war with Order of Anger or something. And this will require everyone from all those orders to commit resources to it, and basically there'll be a health bar. And once the health bar gets depleted, which will all be on chain as well, the winning order will receive the resources from the other order, so as the spoils of war. But one thing with the ATIME is that we potentially could do a prequel war, and so we could go back in time and challenge a war that's already happened in a previous age. Again, so someone can actually reignite a previous battle that's happened from an age in the past. It's just one idea.
I love it. That took you a minute to get to, but I really like that. I hadn't actually heard that idea, but I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Travel through time to reignite or
to restart a battle, to restart a war that's already happened.
Yeah.
Or try to change the history of that battle.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's pretty cool.
That's just one idea, but I mean, look, we're all building this in the open. So if anyone's got any crazy ideas like this, just DM me or drop it in the chat, because we're the master of our own destinies now, and we want everyone to contribute to the direction of this game and the direction of the Lootverse in general. So,
I mean, here's an idea for you, just riffing on the fly, Lord. If we're saying that there's ages, and I don't know, if you're doing Genesis first, I think the second one's got to be Age of Exodus, right? But after Exodus, it could be anything you want.
Exodus? What do you?
Well, Exodus is the second book of the Bible. First one's Genesis.
Obviously, it was going to be more like just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Either way. So sorry, my thought on this though was, let's say we're on to the 5th age now, and somebody is getting some amount of Lord's tokens. Maybe you could use ATIME to go backwards in time and sort of go back to previous age and go back to the levels of that previous age if you use the right amount of ATIME. So it's just a random idea. Neo's got an idea. I mean, I think we're super open to different ideas. This is more your world than our world, though even the word "your" is probably wrong here, to your point about building in the open. So it's maybe we can do a second call another time about brainstorming, pillaging, and plundering and settling in the open.
Yeah. I think it's all, this is all, we've designed the game to be extendable, so we can keep adding more functions for these.
Cool.
As voted on.
All right. Well, I love it. That was a little sidebar, but that's what we're trying to do with ATIME. And I think there was at the beginning there was some questions of utility. Why did we launch a token that had no utility? And the answer was there is a utility for players of the Genesis game today, which is this really active Lost Mana trading post. But for folks who don't have OG loot bags or who don't have the interest in buying a Genesis mana and then trading it with the Lost Mana post, we obviously understand and recognize that there's no immediate utility for ATIME, but we're early. And I think I just wanted to reinforce that. We're super early. We're bullish on what we can build together. And I'm glad that we threw the rope bridge across the canyon now instead of waiting until later. Instead of saying hey, we built a bunch of stuff for the realms, now you can come join this bridge. We're building a bridge together, and across that bridge, we're trading resources. Look at our Discords. Even our Discords now have shared channels in them. Even stuff like this. I have to share this side note quickly. If people didn't see this is fucking amazing. There was almost a miracle that happened yesterday. Neo, I don't know if you want to also comment on this. It's a little sidebar, but I have to say it. Neo popped into the Order of Titans and said, I just resurrected the Genesis Adventure of Titans here. who's the lady of Kenna Anonu. And I said, wait a second. Well, first of all, Kenna Anonu, let's see if I can find that one for you. Kenna Anonu is one of the wonders, and it's a really powerful wonder. Realms for adventurers.
Yeah.
I'm going to get there. Hold on.
OpenSea screwed up our search.
Oh, you can't even search for it at all now?
They can't even search for it right now. We're talking with them, but they screwed something up. I don't know if they've like re-indexed and trying to put us
weird.
with the blue check or something.
Here, there you go. Okay, so I wanted to show you Kenne.
Probably search on the left.
Yeah, here you go. Here it is. This is a wonder, and this is an amazing realm. It's the wonder of the solemn something. What's the solemn catacombs? This wonder was traded a month ago from somebody to Neo. Neo then held it for a month, and then dove into the Genesis project, unbeknownst to him. Hey, this is a separate project, totally unrelated. Resurrected a Genesis adventure of the Titans to tie it to Kenne Anonu. And in a freaking internet miracle, when I saw that, I said, wait a second, I've seen that before. I've seen Kenne Anonu before. I used to own Kenne Anonu. And a month ago, Neo, totally anonymously, before we even launched the Genesis adventures, bought Kenne Anonu from me. And now it matches to his Genesis adventure of Titans. I don't know about you, but I think that's a freaking amazing miracle.
That is awesome.
I know everyone's on mute, but hopefully it's because you guys are just mind blown right now. Yeah, Neo, did you want to jump in?
This is crazy.
Yeah, it is great, Tim. And you know what? I think I couldn't able to recognize you. Because I think you used another ID. I think, right? It's
I used my name on OpenSea is Thou Mayest, which is the official definition of Tim Shell.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I couldn't able to connect it right away when I bought it, and then after I got into Genesis, I mean I forgot about who I bought it from, and then until you pinged back to my Twitter, then I realized, oh yes, it is from you, Tim, and yes, I think it's incredible,
it's so amazing. It was before the first Genesis adventure. So, I mean, I'll stay on this for 10 more seconds because I just thought this is something so poetic to me, I guess. The oldest GA is GA number 1, which was minted 28 days, 11 hours ago. And this Kenne Anonu was transferred to Neo 15 days before that. So for 15 days, before the Genesis adventures even existed in the universe, Neo himself was sitting on this, and then all of a sudden now Neo has a Genesis adventure of Titans. I don't know. I think that's just magical and beautiful. But we can move on. That's just one of those weird X-Files, exciting moments there. I think there's gonna be plenty more. So I think we talked about ATIME a lot. I want to share, and actually we talked about the Realms roadmap a lot as well. We talked about the Lost Mana, Cryptexes. I want to share this one more thing, and I know we're already 30 minutes in here. But before I do that, I truly mean it when I say any open questions, any open concerns, any +1s, any -1s on this experiment so far. The whole point of all of this is learning. The whole point of all of this, honestly, at the Genesis side was let's build a game anchored around trustless teamwork and coordinated cooperation and proof of cooperation and learning. The game behind the game of Genesis, in my mind, is learning. I'm learning more than anybody right now. Some people have been like, Tim Shell, you know so much about Web3. And you know what? I've been trading Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other altcoins for many years, but I didn't know jack shit about NFTs just 6 months ago. Even Treppers, who is our lead developer and historian, he didn't even know Solidity 8 weeks ago. And so we are in deep learning mode. We're learning in the open. We're learning proudly. And so I would love to have anybody on this call say, hey, some missteps or some ideas or some things that we could learn from this experience doing this first collaboration together. I just wanted to say all that to say I truly mean it when I say I'm open-minded to it. I'll take +1s also if you guys want to throw some +1s and enthusiasm along the way.
Yeah, +1. +1. You got to dive into these things. That's all you can do, really. You got to dive
and I'm glad we just went with it. And instead of waiting, I'm glad we went with it here.
Yeah.
We probably could have. I think my lesson learned probably is communicate with more TLDRs. Like this supply thing. I think there's some people who like didn't fully understand the supply mechanics, or maybe thought that they could claim Genesis mana with realms, which is not true. So maybe there's just some more TLDRs on top of the insanity of all this writing here. Team Titan, so. There you go.
I think we're just moving so fast, sometimes it gets a little lost. But
yeah. Okay, well, I'm really open to it. If you don't want to jump in on voice, like honestly, jump into Genesis and chat about it in the open. Grug and others can hopefully attest that like we are super down to have head-on good discussions about stuff. DM me if you want to, but yeah, mostly play along. All right, other comments. I mean, I think I see some other people from Genesis side on here. Holden, I think I saw you on here. Tondi, intro. Taylor, others. Anyone else want to chime in with stuff? Nikobar. Dham, actually, Dham, I may put you on the spot right now. You don't have to speak if you don't want to, but I might explain the quest that you and Nate are working on. Is Nate still on here? No, Nate hopped off. So some people asked us, hey, I own a realm. I get that you're giving me ATIME. Thanks, but like, what do you want me to do with that? I hope I've answered that question today with like, just hold on to it for a second. There's going to be some cool stuff you can do. But also there's two things you can do with it right now. The first thing I wanted to call out that I think got a little bit lost in translation is that if you look at the crossover between players of Realms and players of Genesis, there's a huge opportunity for us to onboard new people to both communities. This is the big Dune Discord here, Dune/Timshell/Genesis project. This is the details of the season 1. When we started this, there were exactly 739 wallets that held no Genesis mana, meaning like they've never played the game, but held realms and held loot at the same time. So like this first one holds 39 loot, no Genesis, and 9 realms. This one holds 29 loot, no Genesis, 24 realms, sorted by realms even. To me, this first wallet is a cool example. This is an example of somebody who probably has 2 Genesis mana inside their wallet. It's probably worth 1 ether to 2 ether for them for free. And they own 46 realms. And they're probably not in either of our discords. Let's get this person activated. Let's go find, who is this wallet, and let's go onboard them and use this as an opportunity to say, hey, you probably bought some realms, you bought a loot bag, your crypto XM USA, congrats, you have a loot bag. Inside your loot bag, you have 3 items of Genesis mana. This might be worth 3 ETH to you. And if nothing, you can probably start the quest to build a Genesis Adventure of Protection. And also, you have 46 realms. Come join us. We have a whole Discord full of people. We're building a realms game. We're building a realms settling game. I think you get the point now, like, et cetera, et cetera. This to me is a perfect opportunity for us as a collective community to reach back out to these people and say, hey, man, you own 18 loot bags and 26 realms. You probably have 20 ETH worth of Genesis mana for free inside your loot bags. And you have 26 realms. Come play with us. So I think that's my challenge to both of our communities, both the Genesis side and the Realm side, is let's go get these people. We started with 739, and in 5 days, that's down to 592, which is pretty cool. That's 140 new players who've sort of dove into the mix on Genesis, hopefully dove into the mix deeper on Realms. But if we're going to win this game together, and if we're going to achieve this 2,540 Genesis Adventures minted, we're going to need every single wallet to come back and every single wallet to come engage. That's probably impossible, but we're so far we're manifesting the things that we want to happen, and so that's our thing. We're trying to manifest is get the loot community, of which there's not that many people. It's a few thousand people. Let's really light them up, get them activated, and even the VCs, even the the multi-coins of the Foxes of the world, they can come play. They can come have fun with us, and I think it's not going to happen just in one Discord and in one project. It needs to happen across the whole lootverse with bridges built between all of us. Any commentary on that before I think we, move on past the Realms ATIME Genesis thing? Does this resonate? Does this part make sense to everybody? I know there's some questions about this. Lord, any comments on this one?
No, I mean that's the goal is to activate all these loot holders back into both projects, and so we just need to find them. I mean, I'm sure there's as you said, there's probably a bunch of VCs that are just sitting on the loot bags. It's going to be hard to activate them, but I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are a bunch of whales that can be. We just need to. It's hard to find them. I think Grug did a good job and found a couple. I don't know how he
for
did
sure.
That,
I don't know if that was you, Grug. Somebody brought in someone who owned like 200 loot bags. So whoever that was, good for you guys.
I don't know how you did that. Grug.
NFT with a cordial invitation. I love it. Yeah, we should definitely do something like that. Hey, okay, I want to do a left turn to something really cool that DHAM has spearheaded with Nate. We did some really geeky math the other day and had a big insight. And the insight was that because of synthetic loot, and synthetic loot, if everyone knows, is a let me find it here. It's a loot bag sort of synthetically held by every Ethereum address. So 2 to the 256 synthetic loot bags exist. Because synthetic loot, I'm trying to find the page here as I go. Because synthetic loot is tied to your address, you can't really buy it. You can't really mint it. You're not really like.
It just exists.
It just exists. Yeah, you're not making it. It just exists. But what struck us was, holy crap! These are just random bags. What if there was a synthetic Genesis adventure, like a naturally occurring synthetic Genesis adventure, where you take your wallet, and with your wallet, you take your address, and you go to synthetic viewer. Where is that synthetic viewer? You go to the synthetic viewer, say, okay, what does my synthetic GA look like? I mean, not GA, my synthetic bag look like? Like, this is my synthetic bag right now. And it's just random. It's not an OG loot bag. It's not an M loot bag. It's just random tied to my address. It struck us, what if you could come up with a perfect, naturally occurring Ethereum address, OX something something something, such that the resulting bag tied to it would actually be a perfectly organized, sort of original Genesis adventure. And from that seed insight was born like a quest. That quest we're calling the quest for the. Let me find it again. The epic search for a synthetic Genesis adventure. There's some lore, there's some overviews. I'll pop it into this channel here too, so you can read about it if this geeks you out, like it geeks us out. There you go. DHAM's giving me a good one to look at. Boom. OX. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, this is close. Yeah, look at this one. So DHAM, as you can imagine, DHAM's gone deep and has built we're calling it a ship that's flying through the cosmos looking for Ethereum addresses. This is the closest we've gotten so far. 7 out of 8. We're one item away.
I'm pretty sure someone did I saw a post on Twitter this morning, actually, by Peter Watts, is it?
Yeah, he did the first great bag. Yeah. Here, I'll show you that one. Yeah, Peter Watts is up in the mix with us too.
So they just got a script running that's hitting every.
Yeah, so he found one that looks like this, but it's perfection, power, fox, detection, giant, skill, power. It's also amazing, but there's a lot more of these because this is kind of random. To come up with a perfect bag that's only of the twins, right. We discovered 2 incredible and insane facts. Before I say those facts, I'm going to tell you the bounty. Whoever finds the first one is going to get 7 lost mana. Whoops. Whoever finds the first synthetically occurring or synthetic naturally occurring Genesis adventure is going to get 7 lost mana. That's not the biggest prize in the world, but lost mana is trading at like a 0.5 ETH right now. Plus, it's also just a really cool entry point to the game to get 7 lost mana. Then all of a sudden, you're just up in the mix playing. Plus, also, it's just glory. Like the first person to find a naturally occurring Genesis adventure and make it their official Ethereum wallet that they then use on the internet, to me, is just freaking magical. And so I obviously want to find one too. And so they've built some ships. DHAM has built some incredible code that's running, and we're all kind of running in our computers right now. I think we're searching at collectively about 2 million Ethereum addresses per second. So we're looking at 2 million Ethereum addresses per second, trying to find a naturally occurring synthetic Genesis adventurer. And the two numbers that are just freaking mind-blowing are these. Number one, the chance of finding a wallet that has one is 1 in 6 trillion. So you have to check 6 trillion Ethereum wallets before you find a single one that has a perfect naturally occurring synthetic bag. But it's mathematically possible. We're, again, like I said, already searching about 2 million wallets a second across the group of us that are playing. But the other reason that's mathematically possible, and maybe that number is not written here, DHAM or somebody else, if you want to copy that number into the chat, that would be cool. I'm trying to bounce across a bunch of things. How many? Where is it? No. Anyone have that original Loot Talk post?
What are you looking for, Tim?
I'm looking for that original Loot Talk post that Nate posted that has the specific numbers of how many synthetic GAs exist.
It's
here it goes. Sorry, I found it.
2.9 e to the 64.
2.9 or
E to the
1.9, 2.9 e to the 64. So I'll post that into the Biblio chat. There are that many naturally occurring synthetic Genesis Adventurer bags. It's a freaking amazing amount of them. 1.92 e to the plus 64. There's a ton of them. But the loot verse is so big that there's 1 in 6 trillion chances of finding one. But if you find one, it's yours because you get the public key and the private key. And so I probably spent too much time on this, but we're having a ton of fun. We're diving in. If you want to figure this out, hop in with us in the Genesis side quest, synthetic GA quest. It's gotten real geeky in here, but we're having a lot of fun. A bunch of us are running this on our computers. And I think it's just going to be glorious. Like, it'll be a cool moment for loot also if we can find one of these like naturally occurring perfect bags. Anyway, that's my geek alpha of the moment. Plus, it's a legit quest. If you get it, you get 7 lost mana if you're the first one. DHAM or Nate or anybody else, any comments on that? I know that you guys spearheaded that, and I kind of took your thunder.
If any C developers are here among you guys, shoot me a message.
Yeah, I'll just add that it seems like a few people, their initial reaction to it is that, they're not a developer. And, we've had a lot of people participate that aren't developers. I mean, there's really just like maybe 3 different steps you have to take. So with a little bit of effort, I think you can participate. And on a normal computer, you can run between 100,000 and 200,000 searches per second. And I mean, it's just like rolling dice. So the more dice you roll and the faster you roll them, the better your chance are. But, you can roll the dice first time and find this bag. So yeah, for people that, maybe have ATIME on the Realm side and want to get into the Genesis side, but they don't have any GMs, I mean, you're really no more than 20 minutes away from turning your computer into a synthetic GA finder and potentially, winning a bounty of 7 GMs.
You get to learn and see it.
Yes, and you get to learn. That's the other part. I mean, yeah. I'm not a developer. I'm a movement builder and a talker and a speaker and a writer and I don't know what else I am, a fantasy geek and a math geek, but I'm not a developer. It took me like probably 20 minutes to do it myself, but I've been searching for them on my own computer.
Anyone should be. If you can operate MetaMask and do that, you can do this. You just got to dive in. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Anyway, that's probably enough on that. Super fun, perfect like cross community geekery thing. And I think that depending on how it flows, I'm hoping that what happens here is that whoever finds it, gets the 7 lost mana, but then sends that wallet to the Order, so that the Order of Titans can have its own synthetic Genesis adventure. But whatever it is, we'll figure out how it plays out. But just super excited to have everybody working together towards a funny and small common goal. Let me show you. Let me completely left turn. We've already been on here for an hour. I want to hopefully blow everything.